Welcome to part 2 on my video series, how to install a shingle roof. We are going to be doing our valley metal folds in this video. This will be how I expect you to do them on the mock-ups. Real world conditions will be slightly different. On our mock-ups we will be skipping the installation of drip edge and eave protection. This should be what your project looks like. 1-inch end dam and a hemmed bottom seam. These are the tools you're going to need: a shingler's hatchet, tin snips. I have a pair of reds and a pair of greens here, duck-billed vice grips, a folding bar, carpenter's pencil, tape measure, and either a speed square or something straight to mark with. Now I've decided to show you real quick on just the difference between red snips and green snips. You can see that when you're cutting with the reds, the metal will flick off to the left, whereas when you're cutting with the rights, it'll go up and to the right. This makes it handy for making different cuts. Okay, now we're going to butt the valley metal flashing up against the wall, so both corners are tight against the wall. You are then going to take your tape measure, push it tight into the corner, and find out the distance from the corner to the valley metal. Here we have approximately 10.5 inches. Okay, now we are going to take that measurement from before and transfer it to the sides of the valley metal. So you're going to take your tape, mark down 10.5 inches or whatever your measurement happened to be on your particular roof, and make a mark on both sides of the valley metal flashing. Once we have our measurement in place, we are going to find something straight. I'm using a starter shingle here for this, and we are just going to make a line from our 10.5 inch marks to the peak of the W in our piece of valley metal. We are now going to cut along that line. When you are cutting, it is a good idea to keep pressure on the snips against the metal, especially as you release the grip and move the snips forward. This will prevent you from making little barbs or jagged edges. Now we want to create our end dams, so we are going to make a 1-inch fold up. You can do this either with the vice grips or the bar. I like to use both, and we're going to fold up the sides on both ends so that they will be flush with the wall. Okay, we now want to bang the nose of the W so it is also flush with the wall. Don't worry about making this pretty. The important part about this is that we fold the bottom and we have no cuts at the bottom of that W. So now that we have that done, we are going to butt our valley metal tight to the wall and double check that we are centered in the valley. Now I took a look underneath and we can see that we are centered dead middle of the valley, and now I have tacked a couple of nails to keep the metal in place. So now what we're going to do is we are going to grab our starter shingle and we want to line it up nice and straight with our felt paper so that we can mark a line that is going to be parallel and straight with that felt. You can see I have marked a line on both sides. After marking that first line, I'm going to mark a second line 1 inch below that. You can either use your tape measure and that starter, or if you have a speed square, the speed square happens to be 1 inch wide, so you just line that up and mark your line. Once we have our second line scribed, we are going to cut that second line. Try and keep your cuts nice and straight, and for your barbs, when you're done cutting, you should have 1 inch of metal coming past the felt, as shown in this picture. Now, in order to prevent the corner of the metal from eventually curling up and damaging the shingles, we are going to want to cut that off. You don't want to cut too much off, just probably 2 or 3 inches as shown in this picture here. Now we are going to make 2 cuts at the nose of the W. You want to cut up to the first line that is scribed on both sides to facilitate the fold over. we will be dealing with the rest of the cuts on the nose after we have folded the metal. Now, either using a folding bar or you can use your vice grips, you are going to fold over that bottom 1 inch. Then you will need your vice grips to clamp down and make a nice tight hem on the bottom. The metal should be completely folded under, nice and tight. Okay, now we are going to begin forming the nose on our W valley. First step in this is to make a cut along the top of that W so that it is roughly in line where the two bottom edges would intersect one another. Once we have that done, what we are going to do is we are going to fold over each tab, mark a line where we want to cut so that it's nice and parallel with both sides, and then fold both tabs back up, cut those lines, and then fold them back down. So we are now going to tack a few more nails into the edge of the metal. This is just to sort of temporarily keep it in place. Once we start shingling, there's going to be a lot more fasteners in there. It is important though, when you're shingling, no fastener should be within 6 inches of the middle of the valley. And now the last step, we run our underlay onto the valley metal by a minimum of 6 inches. And we're ready to start shingling. I hope you've enjoyed this slideshow, and I hope you found it instructive. Thank you very much. Have a great day.